Hello everyone, welcome to IDLS Academy. Our today's lecture is Microbial Spoilage and Preservation of Pharmaceutical Products. Part 1 we have already discussed and this is part 2. Let's start. First of all we will see factors affecting microbial spoilage of pharmaceutical products. An understanding of the influence of the chemical and physiochemical parameters of an environment on microorganisms might allow for subtle manipulations, and these manipulations of a formulation to create conditions which are as unfavorable as possible for growth and spoilage. Within the limitations of patient's acceptability and therapeutic efficacy, there are many factors affecting microbial spoilage of pharmaceutical products. These include nutritional factors and water, etc. Other factors affecting microbial spoilage of pharmaceutical products include relative humidity, oxygen availability, osmotic pressure, oxidation reduction balance, and surface tension. These are some factors that affect microbial spoilage of pharmaceutical products. Types and size of contaminant inoculum. While there will be some chance that the particular aggressive microbe may enter and may contaminate a medicine, some element of prediction is possible if one considers the environment and use to which the product is likely to be subjected during its life and the history of similar medicines. In the case of aggressive microbes, whenever an aggressive contaminant enter a medicine, there may be an appreciable lag period before significant spoilage begins, the duration of which decreases disproportionately with increasing contaminant loading. Next point is the isolation of a particular microorganism from a markedly spoiled product does not necessarily mean that it was the initiator of the attack. It could be a secondary opportunist contaminant which has overgrown the primary spoilage organism once the physiochemical properties had been favorably modified by the primary spoiler. Some sources for the microbial contaminations are given in this slide. You can see these sources are facility, equipment, process, materials, utilities and personals. If we talk about the detail, then a facility will include flow of personal, material, waste and HVAC. In the case of equipments, this will include assembly, cleaning and sterilization. Process will depend upon whether it is open or it is closed process. For the materials, these may be raw materials, reusable resin and membrane filters. And if we talk about the utilities, then utilities are water and gases. First, we will see nutritional factors. The simple nutritional requirements and metabolic adaptability of many common saprophytic spoilage microorganisms enable them to utilize many of the components of medicines as substrate for biosynthesis and growth, including not only the intended ingredients but also the wide array of trace materials contained in them. Even demineralized water prepared by good ion exchange methods will normally contain sufficient nutrients to allow significant growth of many water-borne gram-negative bacteria such as Pseudomonas species. Next point, most acute pathogens require specific growth factors normally associated with the tissue they infect, but which are often normally absent in pharmaceutical formulations. They are thus unlikely to multiply in them, although they may remain viable and effective for an appreciable time in some dry products where the conditions are suitably protective. Next factor is moisture content or water activity. The very first point is microorganisms require ready access to water in appreciable quantities for their growth. You can see this is the diagram showing fungal growth on a tablet which has become damp, that is raised water activity during storage under humid conditions. Note the spareness of mycelium and conidiophores. The contaminants is thought to be Penicillium species. Next point shown over here is an estimate of the proportion of the uncomplexed water in a formulation available to equilibrate with any microbial contaminants and facilitate growth can be obtained by measuring its water activity or in short this water activity is written as AW. If the greater the solute concentration, then lower will be the water activity. So we can say these are inversely proportional. Solute concentration and water activity, these both are inversely proportional. Next point is the water activity of aqueous formulations can be lowered to increase resistance to microbial attack by the addition of high concentrations of sugar or polyethylene glycols. However, even syrup has been reported to fail occasionally to inhibit osmotolerant yeast and additional preservations may be necessary. Next factor is redox potential. Redox potential is the ability of microbes to grow in an environment is influenced by its oxidation reduction balance, that is redox potential. Since they will require compatible terminal electron acceptors to permit function of their respiratory pathways. Oxygen removal to control spoilage in medicines is not a practical proposition, although it is used to control non-biological oxidation. Next point is the use of pressurized carbon dioxide for soft drinks. Preservation relies more on the specific antimicrobial action of carbonic acid than to removal of oxygen. Next point, some viscous food stuffs, particularly those containing meat, have a sufficiently low redox potential. And this low redox potential is to permit growth of dangerous anaerobic clostridia, but this is unlikely in most pharmaceuticals. The redox potential, even in fairly viscous emulsions, may be quite high due to the appreciable solubility of oxygen in most fats and oils. Next condition is oxygen storage temperature. Spoilage of pharmaceuticals could occur over the range of about -20 to 60 degrees centigrade, although much less likely at the extremes. The actual storage temperature may selectively determine spoilage by particular types of microorganisms. Next point is storage in a deep freezer at minus 20 degrees centigrade or lower is used for long-term storage of foodstuffs and some pharmaceutical raw materials and dispensed total parental nutrition. In short, TPN feeds have been stored in hospitals for short periods at minus 20 degrees centigrade to even further minimize the risk of growth of any contaminants which might have been introduced during their aseptic compounding. Here reconstituted syrups and multi-dose eye drop packs are sometimes dispensed with the instructions to store in a cool place, such as a domestic freeze that is 8 degrees centigrade to 12 of degrees centigrade, and this is partly to reduce the risk of in-use contamination growing before the expiry date. Next factor is pH. Extremes of pH prevent microbial attack. Although feeble mold growth even in dilute hydrochloric acid necessitates the preservation of analytical acid standards. Around neutrality, bacterial spoilage is more likely with reports of pseudomonads and related gram-negative bacteria growing in antacid mixtures, flavored mouthwashes, and in distilled or demineralized water. Next point is for products with low pH levels such as the fruit juice flavored syrups, that is pH 3 to 4, mold or yeast attack is more likely. Yeast can metabolize organic acids and raise the pH to levels where secondary bacterial growth can occur. Although the use of low pH adjustment to preserve foodstuffs is well established, that is pickling, coleslaw and yogurt, etc. It is not practicable to make deliberate use of this for medicines. Next factor comes packaging design. Packaging can have a major influence on microbial stability of some formulations. To control the entry of contaminants during both storage and use. Enormous efforts have gone into the design of containers to prevent the ingress of contaminants into medicines for, parenteral administration because of the high risk of infection by this route. Self-sealing rubber bands must be used to prevent microbial entry into multi-dose injection containers following withdrawals with a hypodermic needle. Next point is wide-mouthed cream jars will allow the entry of fingers with their concomitant high bioburden of contaminants, and this can be reduced by replacement with narrow nozzle and flexible screw-capped tubes. Cardboard outer packaging and labels themselves can become substrates for microbial attack under humid conditions. Preservations are often induced to reduce their risk of damage. Protection of microorganisms within pharmaceutical products. The survival of microorganisms in particular environments is influenced by the presence of various relatively inert materials. Thus, we can say that microbes can be more resistant to heat or desiccation in the presence of some polymers such as starch, acacia, or gelatin. Next point is there is a belief but limited hard evidence that the presence of suspended particles such as kaolin, magnesium trisilicate, or aluminum hydroxide gel may influence contaminant longevity in medicines containing them, and that the presence of some surfactants, suspending agents, and proteins can increase the resistance of microorganisms to preservatives over and above their direct inactivating effect on the agents. Here a graph is shown. You can see this graph is showing various types of microorganisms that can grow on different temperature ranges. Let's discuss them one by one. First of all, you can see this is a rate of growth, and on the x-axis the temperature range is given. First, organisms are psychrophiles. You can see the graph of psychrophiles is very low, and the temperature range of the psychrophiles is very low, that is -10 to 20 degrees centigrade. So we can say that psychrophiles are organisms that can survive in -10 to 20 degrees centigrade of temperature. Next one is psychrotrophs. Psychrotrophs are organisms that do not survive in minus temperature. These are mostly their survival range is from 0 to 30 degrees centigrade. Mesophiles are the organisms that are the most abundant microorganisms present on earth because of they survive a moderate rate of temperature. Their temperature range is moderate, and that's why they are able to survive in in a normal environment, that is normal conditions. They can resist. The temperature range for mesophiles is from the 10 to 50 degrees centigrade. Another microorganisms comes thermophiles. Thermo, as the name indicates, they are survivor in high temperature. The temperature range for thermophiles is from 40 degrees centigrade to 70 degrees centigrade. And next one comes hyperthermophiles. Hyper means more than the required. So hyperthermophiles are the microorganisms that can tolerate a extreme range of temperature. They can survive in the temperature from 60 to up to 100 degrees centigrade. So these are various kind of microorganisms, and their growth curves are and their temperature range. On that temperature they can easily survive. Some factors affecting microbial growth are given over here. First one is molecular structure of pharmaceutical products. Structure of pharmaceutical products will affect the growth of microorganisms. Next factor is the physiochemical properties of a particular environment. Next factor is the type and quantity of microbes present. Another factor is whether the metabolites produced can serve as a source of usable energy, and hence the creation of more microorganisms. So we can say that microbial growth will depend on the metabolites present on that particular environment in which microorganisms are present. Next factor, some naturally occurring ingredients are particularly sensitive to microbial attack. These are few factors that affect the growth of various kind of microorganisms present in a particular environment. So thank you very much guys for watching this session. This is part 2 of the microbial spoilage, and some few things are remain left, so we will discuss them in our next lecture. Stay connected with ITLS Academy. Guys, you can follow ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and LinkedIn. For latest updates and videos, you can subscribe ITLS Academy on YouTube, and you can also get app of the ITLS Academy on Google Play Store. So thank you for watching. If you like the video, then like, share and subscribe the ITLS Academy. For any help or query, you can call us our helpline number 7080833450. You can also reach us on our website www.itlsacademy.com. Thank you very much again for watching this session. Stay connected with ITLS Academy. Thank you.